Instead of that, we're going to be having Admiral Bulldog standing in to play up against his former teammate S4. This should be a fun one to say the least. And well, we'll be excited to see what exactly he's going to be playing and how exactly he's going to be playing it. OG have come off after a recent spell of good form over in the DAC qualifiers, where they were able to progress through the entirety of the closed qualifiers without losing a single map, going 2-0 versus every single team there. And they're looking to replicate it over here and get themselves an invite in towards the next major, in towards the Epicenter XL, that is of course happening in Moscow over in May. In the meanwhile, we're going to be getting into the bans and picks for this one, the draft itself. OG taking out the Pudge, and I'm fairly sure that's not a meta ban. I am fairly sure that is not a meta ban. But Pudge being taken away, and my apologies if that is in fact a ban that, if it is in fact a hero that LOTV likes to go for personally, I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't able to find too much information on them. They haven't really been playing in too many tournaments recently at a very high level to which I would be able to reference, so we're going in slightly blind into this one. Pudge and Admiral Bulldog's Lone Druid have already been taken away. Wouldn't be too surprised if the next ban comes out to be the Nature's Prophet. LOTV taking away Jarax's Earth Spirit, nothing too surprising over there. Maybe even we will see some bans targeted towards Resolution, who's been having a pretty good performance so far. OG though, they've been a bit weak ever since the TI7 run finished. Well, TI7 run was pretty bad itself, but after TI7, they've been a little bit weak ever since the roster moves did come through. Haven't really been seeing their top level at recent tournaments. And well, we're hoping they're going to be able to show us a resurgence over at both DAC, and if they're able to qualify, then Epicenter. But first they need to qualify. And that's why they're here. That's why they're going to be in a group. Interesting grouping done. I think it was random grouping because it seems a little bit lopsided. OG seemed to have gotten the slightly easier group, but at the same time, the secondary team could be absolutely anyone as well. It's anyone's guess, really, who's going to be able to take it away at the end of the day from all four teams. Right now, though, LOTV have mostly been banning out Jarax's heroes, the Elder Titan, the Earth Spirit, and now the... Now S4's Beastmaster taken out of the pool, and S4's Beastmaster actually goes way back. He's one of the few players who even like playing it down in the middle lane as well. So that's actually an interesting ban to see. That's a lot of respect being put on towards S4 as well. Of course, Beastmaster has seen a bit of a resurgence as of recent developments in the metagame, but Tiny picked up on the other side. Probably going to be S4's hero right there and then. So I'm actually very surprised they let Tiny through rather than the Beastmaster itself, but Razor and Tusk will be left in the pool for LOTV to be able to pick up for themselves. Two heroes that have seen their fair share of play in the top level metagame. Razor in particular has been balling out of control in the current patch, and well, Southeast Asian scene itself is prioritizing it incredibly highly too. Tuskar just always been a very good
Now, Boulder Smash, who are they going on right now? They do find Tim's. Buyback immediately from the Earth Spirit.
Aus der Todesfalle. Ja. Aber ja. Gucken, was wir gleich aus Laner picken. Also einen Spectre würde ich jetzt nicht unbedingt nehmen. Ja? Oder es wird vielleicht der Tiny, was ich jetzt auch nicht so dolle finde, aber das wird dadurch auch eine gewisse Late-Stärke haben und das wird dann auch passen. Ja. Kommt der Pack, das wäre dann im Normalfall die Offlane. Haben wir jetzt ein bisschen weniger gesehen, ne? Es gab aber mal so eine Woche, oder sagen wir mal 2 Wochen, wo eigentlich jedes Game Pack First Phase war. Kannst du dich erinnern? Da gab es sogar Games, da wurde Pack als Vierer gespielt mit Doppel-Nulli und dann wurde richtig schön Herr West, ne?
Das wurde auf einmal rausgebannt ständig.
Ja, wurde auch ein bisschen rausgebannt. Er ist ja ein bisschen genervt worden, ne? Also jetzt nicht selber genervt worden, aber der Blinkdagger wurde um 2 Sekunden genervt. Das merkst du auf solchen Heroes, die lange im Teamfight überleben können.
With that being said, we are actually still continuing through in the draft, and Tinker, Death Prophet both being banned out by low TV. Death Prophet, like I said, nothing too surprising that they do take it out of the pool, and then it will be OD picked up from OG on the other side. Now, low TV. Their last pick is, they don't really have very much time to actually pick it up. OG being the other obvious pick to come through. If you do ban out the Death Prophet, it gives you the damage that you're lacking in terms of the late game damage should the Terrorblade not be able to get his farm up, and it allows you to shift away somewhat from the pushing strategy. Also some good synergy with the Shen if you do pair up the Astral Imprisonment nicely. Ooh, this should be interesting. So the Astral Imprisonment should be pairing up pretty effectively with the Shen's creeps. Right. Hopefully we're not losing too much, and hopefully we're not gonna have this problem again, because I actually tested the stream for about an hour before I went live anyway, because yesterday we had the same problems and I was feeling so happy that we aren't having any issues with Twitch today. Unfortunately, that simply isn't the case, and we will be getting into this anyway. So there we go, we're getting into it. Resolution on the Terrorblade, and the Invoker last pick to come through is an interesting one, because now you're going to be having the bot going into the offlane. I would have really liked to see either the Razor in the mid or Razor in the offlane and go for a separate kind of carry, but they didn't really have time to be able to use, to be able to think about a response to both the OD and the Terrorblade, so this should be interesting. So now that we're getting into it, how the other lanes going to be panning out is a real question, and like I said before, I'm slightly interested to see how exactly this Invoker is going to be doing up against No-Tail in the middle lane. No-Tail perhaps somewhat less of the incredibly skilled kind of mid players that we've seen being on the rise and in teams as of late. Well, that being said, both teams are going to go down towards the mid lane, put the Observer Ward down. And this is something I actually noticed when I was watching a few replays. It's very interesting. European teams prefer to not smoke up and prefer to just put the Observer Ward on their own side of the map, while Southeast Asian teams generally smoke up and go aggressive across the river and put it on the other side. It gives them a bit more offensive potential, and it gives them a little bit more ability to be able to actually disrupt what's going on. But that being said, we're getting back into it. I've confirmed that the stream is up and healthy, and thank God I can heave a sigh of relief. My apologies again to everyone who was watching before. Now, this Observer Ward might have been scouted out being planted, the Radiant side one that is, and hopefully it will be dewarded soon enough, unless it was planted from going up from the high ground, which is entirely possible, but it's maybe not the most likely thing in the world. Bulldog playing on that pack will be going off towards the offlane, and we'll be interested to see how exactly this ends up panning out for them. Meanwhile, Stormer I'm just going to call him Storm because otherwise I will mess up in team fight. Storm going down towards the middle lane will be blocking his own creeps. That's not something you see every day of the week. But what's going on over here is Bulldog rotating out lanes. So Razor will maybe end up in the off lane like I was hoping, because they've just scouted out the fact that Terrorblade himself is trying to go down towards the off lane. Terrorblade himself is trying to go back and make sure that he gets the better lane matchup. He doesn't want to go up against... I'm surprised he doesn't want to go up against the Buck, actually. Buck doesn't do that well compared to what the Razor manages to do to you, but hey, maybe they were expecting the Razor to come down towards the offlane initially instead of having to rotate out later on. But let's see how this matchup pans out, and let's see how S4 is going to be doing, because of course, remember, Tiny versus the Razor is an absolutely horrific matchup. So if you want to prioritize your Razor's farm rather than try and shut down the Terrorblade, that can be one of the options you go for. I don't know why you would do that personally, because you do of course have a very, very strong carry here on the Terrorblade, and I would personally prefer that you shut him down. But No-Tail will not be getting too much help down in the middle lane because of Terrorblade's decision to go over towards the off lane. Terrorblade's going to need Terrorblade will be needing one of his supports, and in the middle lane, well, No-Tail is going to be having a hard-fought battle with the Enfeeble on top of him. Fly and Resolution having quite a bit of success recently with this laning combination. To those of you who are just tuning in, Bulldog is indeed standing in on the Buck, which is probably why a couple of you are tuning in the first place. In which case, welcome, all the Bulldog lovers or haters, whatever you might be. I'm very interested to see how exactly this game will be panning out in terms of the all chat. I'm really hoping to see some all chat coming through from Bulldog and S4. Of course, everyone knows they're former teammates from the legendary Alliance squad that was able to win the TI3. But it seems like so far it's been a slightly slow beginning to the game. No real aggression coming through despite a couple of rotation coming out in the mid lane. And Coupe, there's a regen rune out over there, picks it up, won't be able to make much use of it. No-Tail going forward, they're trying to maybe block him in, but they don't have very much damage to speak of. Now with two Enfeebles out, they don't have anything whatsoever. No-Tail needs to be careful, he's actually being sent back by the Chen. And he will be able to come back having his mana and HP refreshed, but like I said, this Bane is making it slightly nightmarish for him, pun intended. And in the meanwhile, Sure is not doing as well as I thought he would versus the Tiny either. So low TV, nothing really looking up for them beyond maybe the fact that they are pretty convincingly shutting down No-Tail in towards that mid lane, even though as far as experience goes, he still should be fairly far ahead. That isn't the case, surprisingly enough. Wasn't watching enough of the mid lane to know why that isn't the case, but now Bulldog's used his orb, he needs to be careful. He's being slowed down, and the long range ice shard's beautifully done, but Fly brings him right back, and they're going to be able to pursue right up. A second till the orb comes back, and they realize it, so now they've got to be careful because they can be caught out. There is the snowball. Even if he doesn't have too much mana left to use the ice shards, he can just use the magic stick and come right back up. Rezo with his first metamorphosis is unable to get a kill, and now he might even be going down as they're still moving forward. Brain Sap comes through, beautiful body blocks from Coupe as well, and he gets a kill easily done. Can someone in the chat tell me if it's Coupe or Coupe? I'm assuming it's Coupe actually. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it preemptively. Names are very difficult when it comes to the European scene. It's you need to basically know everyone's local dialect and how they pronounce it to know what they want it to be. It always gets somewhat confusing. That's why both North American and Southeast Asian are fairly easy to handle. China's a whole different ballgame, man. I can't even read those initials. And well, speaking of can't even read, Coupe might be getting a bad readout on towards the middle lane. He's having himself body blocked up as well. Resolution felt that pain earlier on, but now No-Tail trapped up in the shards. They've got the Sunstrike to follow through. Beautifully done. No-Tail will be going down with one last right click from Storm. And it will be a quick kill despite Chen trying to rotate through. This laning stage is not starting off well whatsoever for the OG side, and that's why they've rotated Resolution back towards the top lane, surprisingly enough, to play up against the Razor. But look at this, they're still pursuing forward, they're trying to return fire. Fly, who does not have any abilities, does not have any mana to use said abilities regardless. Snowball will be used, and with one more net, they would have been able to get the kill had the neutral creep not finished him off instead. Still, This might end up coming back to bite them, and the bite comes from the teeth of Jerax. Not Jerax, sure. Jerax is taking away those teeth, and he's being sent back in the process of doing so. Dota TV having some issues. Good old Dota TV. Always ye old faithful. Oh, see, this is a problematic, but hopefully it won't be too much so. Problems will be beginning for the Radiant side, though, as Admiral Bulldog goes down towards the bot lane. It seems like the Avalanche toss combo was successful, but aggression will be coming through on top as well, as they are smoked out behind them. Do they have vision? Seems like they should, especially now that they're going in on the Terrorblade, but Terrorblade might go down before his backup can come through. Magic Stick will not be helping you. One more right click from the Razor will do the trick, and now Fly comes in from the sideline. He's enfeebled up, chasing after QP as well. QP, oh my goodness, this name. After Cube and as well. And it will be sure to get a double kill. SH continues forward, Jerax will go down, and it's a triple to completely convincingly take over that top lane. This is getting even more difficult despite that one kill they were able to get, despite getting a little bit more in terms of farm across the map. These kills are going far too heavily in the favor of the Radiant side. And they're just going to be able to shrine up and get back to it. I will say this though, in the couple of games that I was able to watch, admittedly not too many, of OG, they weren't doing that hot in the laning phase. They're not really lane dominators from what I saw in their recent DAC performances. Of course, in the past that was different, but we're heading back into it. Jerax and Fly now again with the smoke attempt to come through. This will be a lot of time wasted for Jerax and Fly, both of them sitting at that level 3 mark, while the Radiant side supports have already started to level up as well, especially considering the fact that Bulldog with a superb vision, they do actually realize this is going on. So Bulldog gets back. Bulldog might be scouted out by this ward. No, not even that will be happening, as S4 is getting aggressive, and Bulldog should realize this. Gotta be careful. This orb might not be able to save himself over here. Avalanche toss combo, stun to follow through. One more right click from Jerax, and that's a very dead puck. And I will say this, Bulldog played that very, very well, understanding that there was the gank, but slightly unfortunate with the choice of creeps from Chen. He had all the stuns in the world, just enough to be able to kill him before he could get the orb or the phase shift off. Or at least try and hope for some backup to come through. But middle lane, again, OD, Last Hits might not be telling you the full story of this matchup, because this one death changes quite a bit. His opponent has got the boots, his opponent has got the damage, and well, his opponent could bring him down if they want to rotate out again onto him, but middle lane is not our attention. Where they're going to be going is the bot lane. Jerax barely avoids the Sunstrike by trying to get aggressive on the other side. Cupid getting stunned up. One more right click from S4 will do that trick. Fly in the meanwhile will be looking over towards the backline, where Hopti is still there, is still trying to go through, has got the brain sap, will use it on Jerax, and it will give him a bit more HP to work with. However, the stuns come through. There's going to be a follow-up pretty soon by the Centaur Warrunner. They just need the movement speed to be able to catch up to him. Rubik does have the lift and will be using it as soon as he gets vision, but the Ice Shard seem to have interrupted their attempt to continue pursuing on to the Bane for a little while at least. And in the meanwhile, top lane, tower goes down to Razor, and they're still being led on a merry hunt. These supports from the Dire side. Bane is actually a lot lower level than I thought he would be at this stage. Bulldog as well not doing too great. So even though I said that OG isn't really having a great laning stage, they're not having a terrible one either. It's really just the Razor that you need to worry about. And well, it's there's a lot of worrying to be done about SH. A lot of worrying. 4,600 net worth, 9 minutes in. It is QP. Okay, I got, it's Cube. Man, chat, I just opened chat because of the 5-minute delay. It makes it very difficult for me to see what is the pronunciation, like, coming through from the chat. And everyone's saying Cube.
Got it.
Cube. Okay, you know what? Let's just go with Cube. There's been like 4 people who've said Cube. Let's just stick to it. Why not? I can blame them later on. It's your fault for being... It's your fault for messing up the broadcast. not the person who's supposed to research it. Oh dear, No Tail's getting caught out. This is bad omen. There's a Ream Coil to follow through as well, but nice Astral Imprisonment might actually be able to keep him alive for a little while longer. Sunstrike damage is split across both him and Fly, and with that they're able to turn things around. 2 quick kills for them, and onwards to the tower they will go. They've got the regen creep as well, so No Tail doesn't have to worry too much about his HP being low, and with that they will very quickly attempt to take down this tower, and they should be successful in doing so as well. Look at how Fly actually immediately afterwards went right up close and personal with the No Tail OD. That was very well done, because if not, OD taking the full damage of the Sunstrike might have allowed them to be able to get him to fall back, or at least get him, or maybe even get him to go down. Meanwhile, they get another kill as Bulldog tries to go in. That might not have been the best of decisions you've made this entire game, Bulldog. S4 will be traded away, so it's still somewhat fair and somewhat reasonable, especially if they can get the kill on Fly. This will make things a little bit more favored in their side. However, Jerax attempting to send him back will be stopped, and his Ice Shards will be a little bit hard. It will be a little bit hard to actually catch up to him, though. He's already so far away. Even though Plasma Field will be able to catch him out temporarily. Why is he going down? This takes him further away from his own tower. They're trying to TP in some more support, but he might be caught out. Sunstrike is there, and it lands. Storm finally gets a snipe from across the map. And now, despite the TPs coming through from the now reincarnated Fly, they won't quite be able to do too much. Cube. Cube. You know what's slightly frustrating as well? Low T, okay, we can talk about that in a second. I know what's frustrating for No Tail. No Tail needs to turn around, try and get that Astral Imprisonment out, will be able to do so successfully, but really he's being a nuisance and nothing else. He realizes he should be going, what? Oh my god, No Tail, are you going to live? No, you're not. No, you're not. I got so scared for a second. Nice toss back from the Tiny, making sure that SH can't really keep him locked in that chain. And SH is turning around, he's got the ultimate. I have the Storm is ready to go. Fly goes down to a Brain Sap. They're trying to get more damage through, but Razor's already down and out. S4 doesn't have any spells to work with, so he's being sent back. Jerax says, I will sacrifice myself for you, my brother. And he will sacrifice himself to the gods of the sun. Storm shuts him down. What's really frustrating, getting back to it, even though, you know, that was a fight where we should have probably given some analysis of how Razor was able to keep himself alive and was able to do so much, but they get overzealous, not understanding the amount of firepower that actually comes through from the OG lineup. However, as I was saying, what's a little bit frustrating is the fact that this Viper icon, that's their logo, keeps making me think and suddenly be very shocked for a second. Why did I miss a Viper? How has there been a Viper all game long? There's been a snake in their pants though. That's OG. Astral Imprisonment comes out onto himself to try and save No Tail, but he's gonna that Sanity's Hammer did absolutely nothing else. Eclipse will be basically a small little kitten. No damage whatsoever. No Tail's intelligence somewhat low, sitting on about 53, and Invoker sitting on 61, so of course he's not going to be taking any damage whatsoever. Resolution takes down the tower, and he's starting to catch up to the Razor despite having a shakier laning stage than Razor did. Razor definitely has had a couple of deaths, and despite his 5 kills, Rezo's just been doing such a good job of keeping his farm up. 97 last hits 13 minutes in is very impressive with the amount of pressure that was actually put on him. Buck, in the meanwhile, as we saw before as well, has managed to finish off his Veil of Discord. Blink Dagger is en route, about a 1250 gold away or so, and that's going to be the big window of opportunity for Low TV to try and exploit. Jerax, though, might be exploited over here. Cube sees him, lets his smoke dissipate, says that he's providing some intimidation value, but he doesn't realize that Jerax is literally has an army. Literally an entire bloody army. 4 creeps now up and rolling, quite a few of those disablers. While Bane is still level 5, 14 minutes in, not got that Fiend's Grip. And I talked about this earlier on, that despite those kills, Bane suddenly, after getting the first 5 or so kills when they were up 5-1, Bane started not being able to get experience anymore because he wasn't sitting in a lane. After they get so successful and there is a pause, that allows us to work around a little bit more. I think, I'm pretty sure Bulldog's about to get scolded. Yep. I knew it. I knew it. I should not be so satisfied about this. I'm just happy that I knew the rule book, honestly, nothing else. Oh, Bulldog. Oh, Bulldog, you started this drama with Star Ladder, now you're starting it with Epicenter. This time, though, you are in the lobby, so I think they're in the clear. I think they are indeed in the clear. Resolution is suddenly sweating bullets because he's realizing, wait, who are we going to stream snipe now? How do we know what they're doing? Of course that's not true. Of course that's not true. You know, OG, standout gentleman of the game. Now, where was that before? Right, so the Bane, after they were up 5-1, Bane stopped leeching experience from other sides. Bane stopped getting experience across the board, and that's put him very far back. And without the Fiend's Grip, you're seeing the effect of that too, where OD is getting out so much damage in these team fights, where Terrorblade can't be Fiend's Gripped up once he's in that metamorphosis. And that is coming back to bite them, which is why I would really like to see Havite's experience be prioritized a little bit more, moving in towards that 17-18 minute mark, and try and prioritize getting a couple of kills with that Fiend's Grip, perhaps, so you can make up for the damage that there is there as well. Jerax might have been chased down had that Ice Shard Zone actually brought him out. Brings his creeps back to himself, and in the process of doing so will deny 1 creep's worth of farm, but oh, actually, hold that thought. Picks up the creep immediately afterwards in 2, and so that's 2 creeps worth of farm denied. Good job, Jerax. Woohoo! You're doing a great job, Jerax. I don't know why I did that. The game's getting a little bit slow. This is what happens when the game gets slow, guys. Tea time gets slower. No tail. His force staff is still quite far away. He's definitely the one core on the dire side who's been suffering the most. Tiny is doing very well for himself, sitting at 6,000 net worth. He's got his drums, he's got his blink dagger. S4 is pretty much set. We've already discussed how far the Terrorblade has managed to get himself up, and he is actually moving over towards the Manta style. Has got the Yasha already. Has actually accelerated his farm across the Razor, and it's been a while since he did that. SH will be attempting to regain his lead in the net worth department, while Fly very casually sitting inside the trees hoping to get some more experience. I do find this ward interesting. It was placed quite earlier on, so I suppose at that time it made slightly more sense, but Bulldog goes forward. Fly, be careful. If you have Bulldog catch you on, that might be a slightly difficult situation to get yourself out of. Invis Rune on BDN, but No-Tail himself, like I said, doesn't have the farm to be able to try and take down a man, and he can't really pursue forward. That Invis Rune might have actually made them think that there is a ward over there, and indeed they did. They waste up a sentry trying to deal with it, and very soon afterwards they realized that No-Tail did in fact have an invisibility rune, which is what was giving them the vision. Rezo scouted out. And Bulldog's got his blink dagger, and I talked about this being the window of opportunity for Low TV to exploit, and that's why they're actually smoking up. Surprisingly though, it's without their 2 big damage dealers. One of those big damage dealers might actually be damaged down to oblivion. SH should be going down over here. Sunstrike will damage up. S4, oh my goodness, SH, you have got larger stones than I do, and you will be able to make good use of them. Gets 1 kill. Toss from downtown. It's Kobe, and he's got the dunk. SH goes down. Still, the kill on Fly, quite impressive. Almost getting 1 onto S4 as well, forcing him back, and that's what is going to allow them to get their rotation out. Use the smoke to take down the secondary support. The blink dagger is showcased for just a kill on the Chen, though effectively. I don't really know what I think about that. Especially with the Razor already down and out, you can't really try and push through. Bane, you're giving back up to the Invoker, and this might lead up to a kill onto Resolution. They've got an Observer Ward to be able to scout him out. If he gets a Fiend's Grip onto the Terrorblade, they have no way of stopping it. It's a great pair up to try and combine with the Sunstrike and all the damage combination that Invoker does, of course, bring to the table. If he's close by enough, you can even chuck down a Meteor if you're feeling particularly ambitious, or if you're feeling particularly spiteful. No-Tail, with his completed 4 stop, is still 6th on the network chart. While Razor is slowly trying to maintain relevance, even though the gap between him and the Terrorblade seems to be increasing minute by minute. Scan, catches out Bane. They've realized where he is. Are they smoked up? It looks like they might be, but they're not. It's only their positioning that makes me think that. Force Staff is at the ready, which is why Terrorblade might be able to catch out one, but Terrorblade's got out himself. He's going to move forward. Astral Imprisonment keeps him alive, and now Terrorblade will be able to come back with a vengeance. S4 blinks forward as well. Do they have a way to stun him up? Yes, they do. Avalanche catches him out, but in the meanwhile, Invoker, the larger fish, has gotten away before he could be fried. No, dare Cube. Cube, be careful, because this Shen is, he's coming after you with his one satyr. He's got a donkey to ride on and a satyr as his best friend, who's probably going to die very soon and be replaced. Kind of like all of our best friends. Or is that just me? Is that just me? Whoa, nice blink away. Invoker blinks forward aggressively. Chen will be the one to go down. And now the hammer being dropped. Storm will be traded away. But Fly, making me nervous, making me think there is a Razor in the vicinity. But Razor's all too far away. SH even using his Eye of the Storm to farm up. Because he says, you know what, Invoker's probably not going to buy back. Probably not going to buy back. We're probably going to lose a tier 2 anyway. But no, he actually wants to fight this up. So Eye of the Storm will still be up and running for another 15 seconds or so. No till. Zoning him out though, because Razor still does realize that Astral Imprisonment, if he gets caught out in it, then regardless of how far no till is, then the Razor should be dead to rights. Still. Invoker with a blink. I'm not sure if the blink forward aggressively was intentional in terms of dodging the avalanche intentionally, or it was just premeditated and he just happened to do it, because that could have been a blink backwards to try and keep himself alive. The Invoker traded off earlier on for Chen. Probably not really the most worth it, but hey, obviously premeditated decisions can make you feel jittery. It's understandable, really. What is less understandable though is Radiant's lack of vision across the map, and of course Jarax's positioning gets forced out. Nicely done, and now they're going to continue forward. Razor stunned up by the Centaur, and he will be going down. S4 manages to TP in, blink forward, toss back and finish off the task, or at least force him into a snowball. One more right click from Jarax though will be the finishing blow for Hobbite. And Tusk blinking down. He had the blink dagger to be able to maintain his mobility. Shen goes forward. It's a donkey with a dream. And that dream will be ending along with his life. Bulldog chucks out a couple of spells in the middle of that team fight, and that's his contribution. That's done. That's it. And unfortunately, star power aside, you know, celebrity in Bulldog really is just a celebrity at this point. He doesn't really seem to be keeping up too effectively with the high level of play that is going on the S4 side. On the OG side, I've turned this into S4 versus Bulldog already. What an absolute dream this is. Storm needs to blink away. He blinks it forward aggressively once again. This time though, this was the correct decision to make. The tree will not be able to catch up to him. And Fly, Fly, be careful. You are being tagged down very heavily, down to 400 HP already. Chucks out the Sunstrike behind him. Invoker banished up, so they've got enough time to be able to blink forward, throw out an avalanche. Do they have detection? Of course they do. Fly always has detection. It's not like, oh dear, resolution. He's detected a Bane and he managed to bring him down as well. And this again goes back to the fact that Radiant simply don't have ward vision. And oh no, Bulldog, please not this again. Resolution's been scattered out at least so they know to back off. But SH is getting aggressive. This isn't the right decision to make. There's backup coming in from behind SH. He realizes that. And he's going to live up to his name, quiet down and back off immediately afterwards. But who didn't back off? It was Bulldog himself. And, well, it's unfortunate, but might be safe to say that this game is looking very difficult for the Radiant side to come back into. They've got some decent turtling power, but even that turtling power will be tossed back. SH caught out, will be going down. The snowball keeps him alive for a little while longer, but that little while is truly minuscule, as he will be taking a fall. Resolution, double kill for him. Tower will soon be added to his piggy bank as well. And look at this machine gun Terrorblade. Machine gun Terrorblade indeed. Resolution's gonna do whatever he can. It's a okay attempt at being able to kite it out a little bit, being able to push them back a little bit, but barracks are going to fall pretty much any day of the week at that stage, and they should just be happy that more will not be lost, considering the fact that all the cooldowns are still up on the Dire side. They are instead going to prioritize going over towards the Roshan pit more likely than not, They can take down the tier 1 tower while they're at it, and the shrine that, of course, does allow you so much more access towards Roche. Take away some of the map control, then feel a little bit more safe, as you are going to be targeting the Roshan, the stony man, Rocky McCrockhouse himself, Mr. Rock and Roll. I'm running out of things to do with stones. Cube, running out of life as well pretty soon. The Sunstrike is a feeble attempt to tickle S4, and well, it tickles him at least, if nothing else. Shadowblade up, S4 backing off, picks up the Bounty Rune in this meanwhile. Fly tagged down pretty substantially, but even that really just delays the inevitable, as the tier 1 tower will go down, and they're coming in from behind, and they're gonna blink forward. BDN is initiating in. There's a 2-man Dream Coil, but it will not matter. Immediately afterwards, they throw out the Sanity's Eclipse. The hammer is dropped, and so are 4 of low TV. Fly even managing to get 2 kills in there with a Fade Bolt, and they will just continue forward. Roshan be damned, they just want to go for higher ground, they just want to go for the secondary axes. And in the meanwhile, Storm is going to be alone on the anti-push, alone in the counter-push. Aghanim Scepter very far away from him, otherwise maybe he could have held a couple of these players off with the Razor buyback coming through as well. However, the only big cooldown that isn't there is the Metamorphosis, and even that will be coming back in 10 seconds or so. This is a Invoker who's really just being a nuisance more than anything relevant, as they are going to be backing off towards the Roche Pit, more likely than not. Radiant Vision won't be allowing them to see what exactly is going on, and while Radiant Map Control will not be allowing them to move into the Roche Pit either. Bottom lane is pushing in. I believe it's pushing in. Yeah, that's pushing in. Jarax has got his Aghanim Scepter up and going. Ancients will very soon start to be picked up. And in the meanwhile, Fly's farmed up more than anything else. I will give a quick shout out to the Bane though. Bane, I feel for you, man. 1100 gold, 1100 net worth on you. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they smoke up right underneath an observer. They get their smoke scouted out as well immediately afterwards. They will not be able to fight up into this high ground. And well, OG realizes that they've positioned themselves. They're going in, blink forward. They should have been able to get the first kill, but they initiated on the wrong target. That's why Dusk has a snowball. He's going to be able to keep himself alive as well. Turn around from Admiral Bulldog. Nice 3-man Dream Coil, but the range is not enough to keep him alive. And now Bane will be next to fall. As Dota TV will continue to lag up, we're going to see the OG team blinking forward as a group and finding one more. Dusk may buy back, but Storm is going to go down regardless. Resolution seems like that's going to be his first death in a very long time. And in the meanwhile, he did of course trade his life away for the tier 3 tower. A fair trade, and Fly keeping himself alive, as Cube, who did buy back, is struggling to do the same. And struggling to make sure that if he go, oh dear, no tail, blinking forward, Dragon Lance up. Not the Dragon Lance, a Hurricane Pike up. And he started off weak, he was not doing too hot throughout most of the game, but No Tail is now back up in the top 3 net worth charts where he belongs. These past few team fights have definitely secured that position for him. Blink forward, hammer drop, one more hit, and now onto Cube they go. He tried to get out that Walrus Punch, but GG will be called while he's still imprisoned up. His teammates decide that he's going to go down regardless. May as well spare him some pain and make it a quick death. And with that, OG dominating game number 1 are going to be moving forward into game number 2 very soon afterwards. And stay tuned because we're going to be back in just a few. Of course, in the meanwhile, if you've enjoyed the casting, this has been Tea Time bringing you this game. Remember to vote for me when the voting does indeed start.
has always been my favorite sound. A light in the dark when I couldn't be found. You're my harbor, I keep on sailing into.
Nothing else in the world smells like that.
Anticyclone has brought major in Russia, causing a lot of sun and high temperature. We advise you to stay hydrated, stock up on popcorn, and visit highly iced areas like VTB Ice Palace. The Epicenter Excel lads have announced the details about the last event slot. Here's a quick and simple summary we have created to figure it out. Let's take a look at the report. This qualification has no limits. Any team can participate from any region, even from the moon. All games European server. All games best of 1.
Even the final?
All of them. The winner gets the final slot.
This is madness!
No, this is Epicenter!
And with that said, we're going to be getting back into the game. It's going to be OG going up against Low TV once again. Low TV will of course have the legendary Admiral Bulldog standing in. TI winner, as I have been reminded time and time again by the Twitch chat. Of course, enough of that. We're getting back into the game. There's more important things to focus on, of course. So OG absolutely dominated the first game, and hopefully we're going to see more of an even game coming out in the next one. They started off a little bit weak, they started off a little bit shaky over towards their laning phase, but they were able to pull things back together, even though SH was able to accrue quite a bit of a lead on his Razor early on. Resolution on the Terrorblade very quickly pulled it right back. Now, moving to the drafting phase of the second game. Budge and Lone Druid being banned already by OG, and LeftOne TV, well, they've taken away the Earth Spirit, the Elder Titan, and the Chen already. They had a few issues with the Chen in the previous game as well, so nothing too surprising right there. Even though the Chen wasn't really the greatest in the early game, and he had some interesting rotations that weren't quite able to pan out because of the middle lane aggression onto no-tail that was already prevalent by Low TV, but let's see whether or not Jarax is able to pull something slightly more impressive out of the bag in the laning stage. Now, first pick going into it, Low TV, they're going to be given the opportunity to go for the Razor once again if they really want to, but in doing so they will give up the Naga Siren, but they go for the Clockwork early on, and Clockwork, like I said, OG is very comfortable playing up against this hero. They like to pair the Rubik Fly, the Fly Rubik versus the hero, and they like to be able to just use that as a defensive tool to continually push him back every time he's trying to close the distance in and try and cog the man in. Clockwork being picked up, but it's a flexible pick as well. Just doesn't really reveal too much about your intentions of what you want to do for the rest of the game. OG, on the other hand, now they've got themselves a Razor if they want to pick that up. They've got themselves quite a few good heroes if they want to pick those up. The question though comes in, how does Low TV want to play this up with the Clockwork? They've got a few different options of what to do in this game, and well, a couple of them will be... In particular, I'm thinking about as Naga Siren does get picked up by OG, unsurprisingly so. Disruptor could follow through for Fly if they want him to be playing that up, but in the meanwhile... Okay, it will be the Disruptor picked up immediately afterwards. Very straightforward, very standard picks to start things off. Gives you a lot of reset potential when it comes to a team fight. Gives you a lot of power to be able to make sure that you can initiate a team fight as well, even early on with a song, even though that isn't the most ideal situation to find yourself in. But Low TV, they could pair up some interesting things with the Clockwork. I know that Envy was actually picking the Warlock over for Piledai in the Southeast Asian scene, but instead they choose to pick up the Lifestealer early on, a hero that was banned out by OG in the previous game, if I'm not entirely mistaken. And now I'd like to see Low TV banning up the Gyrocopter. I would rather not have OG be so comfortable that they can have a Gyrocopter as well with the Naga Siren and the Disruptor. Already a very good teamfight combination that is going on as it is. Broodmother ban comes through. And again, somewhat targeting Admiral Bulldog's picks over here, making sure that he's pushed out of his comfort zone and making sure that he will be slightly more awkward in this game if he isn't on a hero that he is entirely right on.
Remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban.
Razor ban does come through though, not the Gyrocopter quite yet. They're more afraid of the Razor when it comes to being able to take damage away from Lifestealer. reasonable versus the Clockwork as well, because of the high movement speed and because of your ability to start sucking away damage if you are the one cogged up. But even that's a shaky one at best. Clockwork, it's just such a diverse hero in terms of the utility that it does give you. But OG still.
Dire team ban.
OG go for the silencer ban, surprisingly enough. Now, it is a good counter out towards an Naga Siren, I suppose, if you just use your silence immediately after the sleep goes through, but it's definitely a slightly questionable laner when it comes to it. It can be very hit or miss. Low TV, again, their next ban, I would really like to see the Gyrocopter to be banned out. It's one of the resolution stronger heroes, and it does indeed end up getting banned through. This does leave OG with a lot more room to explore with whatever mid they'd like to play, though, so still, Low TV not quite out of the fire yet. They've picked their poison, and their poison will be BDN getting a hero that he wants.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
With a minute and a half left on the reserve time clock, OG, they could try and go for something that can counter out the Life Stealer more effectively. Now, of course, OD is one of the few heroes that is still pretty decent at being able to kite him out. You can always Astral Imprisonment over a teammate. You can always Astral Imprisonment yourself if he's going on you, or if he doesn't have his rage up, then kiting Life Stealer becomes a lot easier. No-Tail's already expressed his comfort on the hero, and it pairs up decently with the Naga Siren as well, especially with the slight wombo combo potential that you do have, but they prioritize S4's hero first and foremost. They take the Beastmaster up. We'll give them the extra vision they need. We'll give them the extra pick-off potential they need as well if he elects to go for the Shadowblade Blink Dagger build that Universe likes to play over in the Southeast Asian scene, but more likely than not, we are going to be seeing the Helm of the Dominator plus Necro 3
5 seconds remaining.
style from this Beastmaster. Low TV. In response to this, they themselves have quite a few heroes they can actually pick up to. Personally, I would like to see a Sand King to be played over here by them, but they go for their support first. And now Sand King's a decent hero over here because the Sand King clock as a dual lane can be a big nuisance towards the Naga Siren and Disruptor, who are more likely than not going to be in a tri-lane defensively together. However, you can put a lot more pressure on towards the carry. You can put a little bit more. You can have a little bit more kill potential, and the instant initiation is always great throughout the game. Also gives you a decent counter, not a hard counter, but it's a decent soft counter towards the Naga Siren sleep. You can always Epicenter and try to blink in, or try and Epicenter and turn things around after Naga Siren sleep has already expired. So that could be a pick that they're considering in the back of their head right now. OG, though, next ones to choose their hero. I still think OD is a very good hero for them over here for No-Tail, but instead they pick up the Lycanthrope. It was open, it was ready to go, and well, that's the push power to come through with the Beastmaster. And now Low TV need to be incredibly scared. Lycan's very good against the Life Stealer. Lycan's not that great against the Clockwork, in terms of the Clockwork has the power to actually lock him down even in wolf form for an extended duration, as long as Lycan isn't feeling too comfortable and just right-clicking down, swiping down those cogs. Low TV, how are they going to look to counter this Lycanthrope out? They already have the Life Stealer, which puts them at a slightly difficult point. Again, this just makes me want to have the Sand King even more, to be honest. It's the instant initiation is very strong versus Lycan. You've got good catch potential as well. The Blink Bar Strike, and of course a natural 4-star builder too. So you've got a long range initiation, long range catch if Lycan is on the retreat using his wolf form. And they would be a lot more reliant on using the Hawk to scout defensively rather than aggressively. Of course, if they don't want to go for the Sand King, then there are a couple of other heroes still available in the pool. I doubt they go for the Underlord, but instead it will be the Enchantress. So Enchantress down towards the off lane is it's not one of those amazing Enchantress games where you just go ahead and say, okay, this very much counters out most of OG's drafted. It's in fact, it's okay at being aggressive in the lane, at least, if nothing else, so you can get away with a lot more versus the Naga Siren and Disruptor. But with Disruptor having the glimpse and Naga having the net, they've actually got quite a bit of lockdown to keep her in place long enough to take her down, should she be caught out. So OD will be banned now by OG. They themselves, of course, will not be playing it. No tails on the Lycan.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
But the Viper ban, huh. Slightly surprising that the Viper ban actually comes through, honestly. It's definitely a hero that adds a lot to the pushing power ever since the style change came through, and he does play more of a Helm of the Dominator style of play.
5
But
seconds remaining.
OG still have more than enough heroes for Resolution to actually go for. In fact, I'd even say the Invoker is possible for them to go through and pick for themselves if they really would like, it. Death Prophet is also still in the pool, another hero that's very, very good at pushing. Both of those heroes very decent. Death Prophet's traditionally played by No-Tail though, which is why I'm slightly curious on how they're going to be playing this out. I know Rezo can play a Death Prophet, but we're gonna have to wait to find out whether or not he does go for it. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Low TV did end up banning out the Viper and on the DP. But OG's got plenty of time to think about what they want. No matter what they go for, they won't be losing this lane. Dragon Knight, of course, is not the best lane dominating hero, even with the Witch Doctor to help him out. What's going to be the most interesting thing though is in this entire game going to be the Bulldog Enchantress and whether or not he can actually try and monopolize that lane and try and shut down No-Tail somewhat. Admittedly, it's also possible that we see some shenanigans come through and Bulldog could be sent towards the safe lane. Lifestealer is a very, very effective laner when it comes to going up against a melee hero. But Rezo, he picks up the Shadow Fiend. He knows that this is a lane that he should not be losing. Dragon Knight gives him a little bit more room to work with, so Storm will have to step his game up, and maybe they're able to get a couple of kills early on with Havate getting a good cast or so, but this is going to be a difficult lane, very difficult lane. Low TV, in my eyes, they have without a doubt lost this lane, lost this draft, and probably have to win the laning stage should they want a chance in this game. So again, a lot of that will come down to cubes, rotations. Part of that will come down to how Bulldog does in his lane, and I'm very interested to see how OG end up laning this to try and shut down this Lifestealer's farm, or to try and prioritize No-Tail's farm in the laning phase. That should be a big tell of how this game should be progressing throughout the entirety of it. And then, Disruptor now. Well,
Prepare for battle.
The Disruptor and No-Tail will be taking over the safe lane as they will be forced to fight up against Bulldog. It's an okay matchup considering that you are of course not going to have the Naga around, so Bulldog actually has quite a bit of space to do a lot unless we see some incredibly good wolf blocks coming through. Unless we see some incredibly good wolf blocks coming through from No-Tail onto Admiral Bulldog to prevent him from getting away long enough that they can get the right clicks out. But now that the Untouchable has been skilled, No-Tail knows that there's no point in trying to trade hits with the Enchantress. Reza, he's going to be forced back from the rune, as a 4-man movement down towards it will have ensured that the dark side will be able to get that. And interestingly enough, No-Tail is continuing to run away. No-Tail continuing to run after Bulldog rather, but now he's going to be able to get a few more swipes in. This battle is not one that No-Tail is going to be able to win, though he does have the extra regen in the form of a salve. No-Tail will be forced to fight up against the Bulldog Enchantress for the rune, and in the end might just end up giving it up. He's going right, he's going left, he's able to get on top of the rune, gets it easily. I lost the bigger battle that was going on across the map, though, as SH takes down S4. And unfortunately, it seems like although No-Tail was able to get the first bounty rune of the game, they weren't quite able to get the first blood of the game on their own side. Rezo over towards the mid lane now. And he might be circled around upon. If Jovita can take down this core, that would have been big, but Jovita is a bit too slow and he can't make his way over in time. So, S4 and company will be who we keep an eye out for, because the rotation could actually come through. This is potentially looking to be a tri-lane from the Dire side, and now the cogs coming out. Jerax is caught out. He's going to be trying to back his way off, but from there comes out Jovita. Could be catching out S4. They're not sticking together on the Radiant side, and actually changed my mind. They bounces to and fro despite there being a couple of creeps. It goes onto the heroes, and with that S4 should be going down. Cogs to push him back. An early death from S4 is not how he wanted to start this lane off. Jerax will have the Riptide coming off of cooldown in 2 seconds as well. One more right click should be able to secure it, but he's forced back as Cube comes in with the block. And Jerax now, he has to be careful because Cube will have his cogs off of cooldown soon enough, and he catches out Jerax. Jerax will be going down, trying to return some fire. Will be able to do so, but at the cost of his own life. 3-0. OG will start things off the wrong way once again. Laning phase not really looking great. Of course, it's only a minute and a half into it, but so far this gives a lot more space to Bulldog as well to work his magic. And Jerax stunned up. He's going to be pursued up as well. Open wounds were there. That's a problem with having a support Naga Siren versus a Life Stealer. He can just get close so easily to get those open wounds out. Slows him up, forces him back. No salve on him, no regen on him now that he's used his last tango as well. And similar story for the mid lane where Resolution is dominating. 8 for 1 already. And this may be slightly deceptive in terms of the numbers. 8 for 1 versus a 9 for 0 seems very even indeed, but the Shadow Fiend being even early on is practically domination from a very weak laner that he is. S4, top lane, caught out, Battery Assault going through as well. One more right click from Cube will take him down. And S4's counterpart across the map, well, he's just got his boots finished up and he's just continuing to try and get some experience out of this lane. Still level 2, unfortunately hasn't been able to interrupt the pulls too effectively to continue and bring the levels into his own favor. But S4, he's having a rough time himself. Middle lane is what I'm interested in. It's so rare these days that we see a pure 1v1 matchup to come through, and Resolution will be flourishing. This really is a big reminder of the Empire days back in the day when he used to play Shadow Fiend. Was one of the best Russian mids of that time. Not Russian, well, best mids of the CIS region. I think he's Estonian or Ukrainian, not 100% sure. I don't remember exactly, but Cube continues forward, catches out Bulldog, catches out S4. Battery Assault will be able to get some more damage out too. Jovita's stun, though, will not be sufficient as they're not willing to dive the tower just quite yet. It will reveal the fact that Naga Siren has made her way over towards mid, though. And Storm, oh no, he doesn't realize it just quite yet. And Resolution turns around. They've got the Riptide as well. One more Shadow Fiend Shadow Rays will be able to secure them that kill as well. Great rotation, and slightly questionable from the Dragon Knight to actually maintain his position in the mid lane for as long as he did, despite Naga Siren not being at the top lane, which was absolutely proven when she wasn't around to try and save her Beastmaster from being dove, but he tried to go for an advantage versus the Shadow Fiend, but now, well, that advantage will be going towards the Shadow Fiend even more so. Cube comes in, he's got his Battery Assault, and that is apparently intimidating enough to make sure that Resolution and Jerax back off the cogs, trapping in Storm for a little while longer, but Storm won't be able to get much done out in this lane while Naga Siren sticks around. The 1v1 that I was so surprised about is very quickly being turned to a 2v3 as even more rotations will be coming through. Witch Doctor from the sidelines, they've got an Observer Ward which should be able to scout him out because he is not smoked up, nor does he possess one. However, that's where this is going to get interesting. It's a trial in on trial in action. They go in with the net onto the Dragon Knight. They're going to be able to get this kill more likely than not, despite Dragon Knight's tank ability. Resolution needs to turn around, get that last raise out. Storm's trying to close the distance to get more damage in, but Resolution will get that kill easily down. Jovite should be the next man to fall, and the only person to get away will be the Clockwork. Rezo, early 3 kills, with the one earlier on the Dragon Knight as well, is having a very good time for himself. No tail. Throwing out that howl, and well, Bulldog is getting his levels. Bulldog is making sure he doesn't die, so it's slightly, I would say slightly better than what S4 has managed to accomplish so far, even though S4 has taken up a bit more attention around the map. But as I say that, Bulldog's looking to get even more out of this. The Battery Assault comes through. No Tail's going to be getting a lot of damage out onto him. Great Cog's position means that he's going to be forced to juke around the trees, and even that won't be saving him as Cube. One more Battery Assault proc will take him down. That's the start Bulldog needed. And with the extra siege creep that he's already managed to pick up for himself, they should maybe be able to push out the tower a little bit as well. That's what you see him doing, trying to push out the range creep. In the process of doing so, though, he will find that his own middle tier 1 is underneath heavy fire, as Resolution will be the man assaulting it. Resolution, be careful. There's Jovite coming in from the back lines, but they've got a sentry from the Radiant side preemptively. Nice double raise, will catch out Cube, takes him down immediately before he can even get the cogs off. Fly's going to try and close the distance for the glimpse, but will not be able to do so. Level 1 glimpse, unfortunately. He did, of course, go for the 1-1-1 build that is so standard. And Jovite will try and convert his Invis Rune into a kill onto S4 instead, but S4 is playing so defensively that he shouldn't really be at too much risk right now. Fly will be able to take down the tower as well. And well, that will be traded away with a kill on S4 on the top lane. Jerax does TP through, but he's not in time, and nice little net dodge with the Infest. I like that play, I like that play a lot. Storm being forced back. Resolution doesn't care if he's already pushed up towards the tier 2, it doesn't really matter to him whatsoever. More action should be coming through on this top lane, but they've managed to scout out the presence of all these heroes already. 3 heroes there, and Fly is looking to get busy with his level 2 glimpse. Shouldn't be too easy though. This Clockwork is having a very good game so far despite his 1 net. That kill on No Tail was absolutely humongous though. That could be that should have been a turning point for Bulldog, and indeed it seems to have been, because Bulldog now, he's got the lane to himself, he's just farming it up continually, and now top lane action should be coming in. They're trying to bait out the net. They've got more than enough people behind them. A lot of pings coming through. I'm not sure what that's about. Cube perhaps realizing there might be a couple of wards around, but oh no, he's been caught out. Resolution gets a 3 raise combination, and it's a mega kill streak for him, 5-0. And Rezo's having a scary game to start things off. Already something's being delivered out to him on the courier. That's going to be just his basic items, the drums and the initial things that he needs before he can start going for specialized items like the Yule Scepter. That would be for the magic damage build, or anything else that he would like to go for. Storm, where he was having a decent time early on, trading out CS evenly. Now he's down to 34 with a couple of those having been neutral kills. 8 minutes in, they're not doing well in these laning stages whatsoever. Bulldog, the only person who's somewhat evening out his, even though No Tail does seem to have quite a bit of farm. Bulldog is level 7, which is a Nice little jump above S4, who does also have his roar up and ready. Look to see him rotating around to try and use it, but rotations will be coming up from Shadow Fiend, who's got the haste rune, is smoked up as well, is moving forward. This could be turning around at all of Bulldog's luck so far. Rezo's going in, doesn't have the Requiem, doesn't need it either, only needs the raises, and he will get all of them. Turns around one more, and it will be the unstoppable streak coming out from him. Jovita and Cube inside the tree line, both of them waiting for their TPs to be used, and they will back off and forfeit the tier 1 tower because of those. S4. Well, he's going to try going down towards the mid lane. Storm doesn't have mana. He could find himself into some trouble. S4 does have the roar, chooses to use it. Fly can follow through with a kinetic field, but they won't even need it. One raise in Rezo. He has all 7 kills of his team so far. Every last one of them. Lycan, though, needs to be careful. He's being chased down. And well, Jovita, they're going to be backing off. Cube will be glimpsed back. This should be an easy kill for them. No-Till will secure it. Ulti comes through, shapeshift, and one more swipe will be needed, but it won't even be his own creep. It will be his own creep, actually. That finishes him off, the Centaur, to do the trick. Meanwhile, bottom lane, there's tier 1 will be taking some serious fire from Lightseer and company. Tower trade to come through, and again, OG so far coming out on top in this laning phase. Jerax might be some slight pick off over here if they can try and bring in backup by the time Jerax gets back towards the tier 1, but that's looking very difficult. Jovita, the closest person, somewhat slow, and Clockwork unfortunately does not have his level 6 just quite yet. Cube really needs to start getting that experience up for him. If his team can just prioritize that, then the hookshot cogs into some more firepower could end up saving them for now. However, by the time they even gather around this tier 1 in the mid lane to try and trade it away, the tier 2 at the top has already taken a fall, and OG doesn't look to display any signs of stopping. If they want to put any pressure down towards the middle lane, then they're more than willing to try and trade in building damage, because they've got more than enough right click power on buildings to come out on top in that trade. Bulldog, drums are ready. If they can somehow manage to get a kill in resolution, that would be huge, but like I said, that would need the hookshot. And that's why you see the Clockwork so far away from the action. That's why you see him trying to farm up these neutrals to try and just finish off that level 6, and Bounty Rune should be picked up by him, and as soon as he does that, he will be able to get it up for himself. Goes the right direction as Fly almost catches him out. Could have been a tricky situation, even though there's very little backup. Lycan can come over very quickly. No shapeshift though, so I scratched my words off right there and then. Jerax. Song of the Siren could catch out the Enchantress, but it's a big investment to make just for one hero. Although they could potentially turn that into a Roshan soon after. Enchantress is a lot of the damage coming out from the dire side right now. Those impetuses can be incredibly painful to deal with. Invis Rune out on Jerax. And again, no sentry wards out. Of course not, you don't expect it. There's no Shadow Blade out on the Shadow Fiend just quite yet, but Jerax will be able to scout out a lot of these players. Could actually set up. Looks like that's what they're looking to do. Rezo though, unless he TPs over towards this top lane, or even just walks over from what it looks like, this could be massive if they catch out 2 of these players over here. Indeed they will. They're standing right next to each other. Rezo's going to go set up for a Requiem of Souls. This is going to be such a problematic situation. They're all... okay, never mind. Mistimed, and unfortunately for the dire side, that won't seem to matter whatsoever. Rezo now godlike, 9 of their kills, and the last one he was involved in as well. Now bottom lane, No-Till in the meanwhile might be giving away the trade, and indeed he will. Jovita with the last Maledictic will finish him off, but this could be a Roshan that we see going down. They're definitely nearby enough to take it down. 13 seconds before the respawns come through, but even though their low levels allow them to come back very quickly, I doubt they can fight around the Roche pit, because this Roche will be going down by the time they're even here. S4 with that medallion And Cube, although he gets the vision, there's no hook shot, there's no initiating power, and there isn't any Deathborn either. He's too far away and he doesn't have the mana over on the bottom lane. So they will be forced to give up their Roshan, even though they have knowledge of it taking place. Jerax on the Naga Siren. He might be a little bit miffed about that last song that he wasn't quite able to pair up with the Requiem in time. It's not a very common combination that you actually go for, but Storm has to be careful. They do have ward vision in the vicinity, and they have managed to gain some map control around the Radiant side jungle, but they're still pretty consistently going to be at risk because they can't take a team fight while this Aegis is still up in particular. Shadowblade out on Resolution as well, so he's going to be looking to make that known and make that put to use. Jovita looks to be the first target for that Shadowbladed Shadow Fiend. One right click, pair it up with another raise, and he's practically going to be dead from that in itself. 1, 2, and that's all they need. S4 finishes that one off. Jovita goes down 11-7. And things are looking even more difficult for the Dire side right now. Observer Ward will go down on the high ground, and that's a signal that the barracks will be their next target. TPing back the Dragon Knight, but he can't help. Oh no, this is problematic. Now they don't have the Dragon Knight. Now they don't have any way to be able to defend this. They might even go try and take down a tier 4 or 2, or if nothing else, at least try and turn their sights on towards the tier 2 in the middle lane, which is what they're trying to prevent by killing off the creeps early on. Cube goes in, a nice little cogs onto 2, but there's no follow-up. And the bottom line, tier 2 is traded away for Raxus. That is not a trade you're too happy with on the Dire side. And honestly, Resolution, the amount of lead he's been allowed to get is absolutely ridiculous. 11,000 net worth, 16 minutes in. And he's just going to be able to fight up against the Lifestealer despite there being open wounds on him. One more right click and he doesn't even get the chance to infest himself. Is pairing up, or readying up the Requiem of Souls. Turns around, tries to take down Bulldog, but he's going to use his drums and get right away. In the back lines, though, Storm may be tanky, but he isn't tanky enough. He's going to be taken down by a support and the offlaner. That's just how underfarmed he seems to be. Treads and drums, that's all he has, and that's not too bad, but when you compare it to the time that we're on right now, when you compare it to Resolution's farm, Resolution is literally more than double his net worth right now. A very difficult situation to find yourself in. And before, I was under the impression that Cube maybe could try and pair something up, try and get a quick hook shot out, and maybe they can get enough damage to be able to take down a player and force them back, and that could have been the game changer, but for now, they just seem to have too much to work with. Now, Lifestealer's TPing in aggressively as well. He will be able to force him back, but only for a little while. As the song comes through, he's going to be forced to infest into a creep. That creep is killed immediately afterwards as well. Resolution finishes him off. He's got no buyback, and this is GG. It's 17 minutes in, and OG will finish this off. Ultra kill for Resolution. Might even be the Rampage, and indeed it will be. Resolution. 15-0-4, 17 minutes in. What a performance coming out from him. And OG, they may have looked a little bit shakier in that previous game's laning phase, but they show us that they can still get it done. And with that being said,